What are you misinterpreting?
Oh, this letter.
Wow. What communication mistakes do we make, even though we know better?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Phil, and this is Jen.
And we are Second Chapter Love, sharing honest conversations about love, healing, and hope after heartbreak.
And follow us this week. So we got a few different things that we want to talk about. You go.
Well, I think main conversation is about communication. And, we talked last week about kind of that healing process and the idiosyncrasies and the fixing and all of that stuff. Well, communication takes a lot of work, and I think it is always evolving. Is that fair?
True.
Sure. And I think one of the things to kind of start off with is, in a second chapter, you have still possibly a lot going on in your life. We still have, young kids in a way.
Grandkids.
Kind of been grandkids, and now we're really, seeing what life looks like, and stressors still occur.
Yeah, it does.
And that truly, I think, affects communication.
Well, I think it's a killer. I think stress can
hard.
be a communication killer because of a lot of different things, misinterpreting tone is huge. Huge. Well, why did you say it that way?
Know.
Well, what do you mean? Why did I say? What way was I supposed to say it?
And I would argue, Philip, you can misinterpret tone. We talk about this in the world, like in real life, but I think there's still a misstep of misinterpreting tone on text too.
Oh yeah.
You can talk about that,
sure,
right?
That's huge.
If
Yeah.
I'm just in a certain mood, or I'm tired and I'm not evasive with my texting, and I love you and giving you all of those feelings that often, I can text with, and you think, what's wrong with her?
Yeah.
What's wrong with
This
us?
seems awful short. Or you send a long message and get a okay, or I don't know. Or
and I'm in the middle of a meeting, or I'm in the middle of doing something.
Same thing here.
And we can't respond the way we do. I think that affects communication, which still, no matter all the work you do, is hard.
Yeah, that's sometimes people talk to respond to something, not necessarily talking to understand. Like
Okay.
I may not understand what your point of view is.
Sure.
Or, there have been many times when you looked at me and said, why are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? And I think to myself, where is this coming from? Maybe I just have one of those faces, but I don't know, angry faces.
No,
I
know.
Put on my angry eyes.
And I'm like, what is the matter? What's going on?
Yeah. But let me say this. What's better? What's better, having your significant other look at you and say, are you mad at me? What did I say something to anger you? Or internalizing it and saying, and not saying anything and just making that assumption.
Yeah.
Best to bring it out.
I know.
Right,
And a communication mistake, I think sometimes is I'm defensive, a defensive reaction to kind of what you're saying. Like, what do you mean? What's going on? What did you mean by that? Is defensive versus saying, I just didn't understand what you were telling me at that point. I didn't know.
We have different styles and
Yeah.
how we do it. And it's weaving those two together and making the relationship work with how you communicate.
Yeah.
And I'm a big firm believer too that if you got a problem, air it out quick, because in my business we refer to it as your first hit is your least painful. So the longer you drag something out,
that's fair.
And stew on it, and bake it and get it all juicy, and the harder that is to fix. You're better off to get it up front and take care of it.
Well, I think that kind of rolls into like timing and not letting things sit and eat up too much time, but also timing. Sometimes I'm not great on approach, perhaps is what how I should phrase it, where you're in the middle of doing something, and as much as I can see that you're busy, I have something that to me is very important to ask, where to the other person it might be like, why did she choose right now? I'm knee deep in doing something.
So why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because we're thinking about early on relationships. And the thing about timing is developed over time.
Fair.
So maybe if you're blessed and lucky, right off the bat, you guys are, clicking and banging on all cylinders all at the same time. Chances are that's not going to happen. So give yourself some time. And always be take an analytical look when something doesn't feel right. Like let's say, for example, one of these times Jen says to me, she said, "Are you mad at me?" And I'm like, "Well, no, of course I'm not mad."
Yeah.
Go back and look and say, "Okay, why did I interpret that? What was it about that?"
Sure.
And then the next time it comes around, he's just being him. He must have an upset something again or something like that.
It's just the timing. It's that timing that
Did he eat too much sugar?
Did I have another oatmeal cookie? Yeah.
Because here's what happens, though. If you don't address these things, you're going to find somebody's going to shut down. And that is possibly the worst. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, shutting down is tough. And I would hate to say I'm notorious for it, but I can definitely do it. And here's the really hard part. When we talk about this healing and these communication mistakes, even when you are fully aware that it's an issue of yours and that it's a mistake and you still do it, well, guess what? You may still do it. And it's up to you to get yourself out of it, to not lay that all on your partner. It's hard, but that, I think, for me, is that shutdown. When it happens, I have to quickly say to myself, Jen, get out of that. You're not being fair to Philip. He didn't do anything wrong. You just shut down and get out. And I think it's fair eventually, maybe not right off the bat, but eventually your partner says to you, you're doing it, or identifies some of the things that are communication mistakes in a matter of communicating, right? Yeah. So, are we shutting down? No, just kidding. We're not shutting down.
I've had it. No, I am not mad at her.
Would you call that like a repair?
No.
The poor people watching.
Yeah.
Maybe you call that like a repair conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Like you repair the thing that you made a mistake in, and you can come and say, partner.
And if you can't do that,
love, I'm very sorry.
Your relationship is over.
Yeah,
the two most powerful words in the English language are, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's so powerful, and it's very disarming. And it may be, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's not founded. I'm not mad. It could be a lot of different things.
Sure.
But you just make sure you don't say it by negating something. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not the point.
Right. That's not the point.
Yeah, I'm sorry you feel that way is not a good one. But I'm sorry you feel that way because it's not true. I don't feel that. I didn't do that.
No.
That's a different story.
What happens though, if within that sort of repair conversation, before or after there's conflict, how do you see that you handle conflict differently now?
We had it early on, a couple times. There was some back and forth, like static but the one thing I think that's really so important about that is don't be afraid to have differences. Differences are what we're all about. There's a reason that all cars are not black, because everybody doesn't want a black car. Everybody doesn't want exactly the same. You don't want to have the exact same relationship we have. We just want to help you have the tools so that you can build a good relationship like we have, which is not the relationship. It's still a car. It's just ours happens to be red.
And I think the handling conflict differently for me now is more about being open and asking what I'm doing or asking the other person how they're feeling. Early on, there were, miscommunication, and that seemed to cause the conflict, but it was just miscommunication because we did not yet know how to communicate with one another and feel the confidence and the safety to ask the question. And then once you did and you unlocked it, it was like, holy smokes, were you actually upset with me, or was I actually upset with you? No, we just didn't know how to have that communication. It then caused the conflict.
And it's still going on. I mean, we're still learning each other.
Absolutely.
We really are. Where are the boundaries?
Sure.
How far can I push her?
Well, even in this process, and kind of wanting to share this with you and building Second Chapter Love, and now kind of moving it more in its format to YouTube, I feel like we're still learning together how to do this, and how to find the best way to do it, communicate together, and do all that so we can get this out.
Here's one thing that I'm definitely learning.
Tell me.
I'm going to continue liking you more and more each day.
Oh, that's very nice.
No, I really am.
Well, and you say that all the time. I think that's such a big piece that
I say that all the time. What does she mean by that?
We can.
Why did she say that?
We can love someone else and tell them we love them, but we need to like them in all of their formats, including when the tissues in the pocket end up in the washer and dryer. That's a good thing.
Cleaning before we eat.
I would say this: we're still learning. You're still learning.
Yeah, listen, thanks for being a part of our second chapter,
I agree.
for allowing us to share it. We're not counselors, we're not licensed, we're just two people that made it work, and we want you to make yours work, and we want you to find your next second chapter, next chapter.
Absolutely. If these stories encourage you, subscribe and follow along, because we want to be part of your
your story. We want to help your story along too.
We both feel the same way. What great communication.
Yeah. I heard one time they said that your success is measured by the difference you make in other people's lives. So we want to make a little positive difference in your life. So let us into your computer screen, into your YouTube channel, and we'll give you some encouragement along the path.
Sounds like a plan.